Greetings and welcome to my garden. Today I will talk about plants that can be transplanted freely in the dead months, that is, between November 15 and February, but on days when the ground is not frozen. Plants that tolerate such colder weather are wild plants, and among them are mullein, chamomile, and St. John's wort. This is exactly what I gladly and often transplant in my garden to complete the biodiversity. For a simple example, let's take chamomile transplantation. You have a surplus of this plant in your garden where the seeds have spread by themselves. Dig up the bush of the plant and transplant it to a new place in your garden so that later the biodiversity is completed when the plants are in full bloom. In this way, we imitate nature itself. Here is the bed ready for St. John's wort seedlings, and here at the beginning, I immediately complete it with a few clumps of chamomile for transplanting. There is enough for now because I actually already have it on all sides of my garden. So chamomile ripens in the first half of May. So as soon as May 1st arrives, chamomile is practically ready for harvest. St. John's wort is a plant that can be transplanted practically at any time, or at any time of the year, and I'm talking about seedlings, and the seeds must be planted for the last time in August so that they sprout in the fall, and at the end of the fall, the plant is ready for transplanting. Furthermore, for mullein that sprouted in the same season, you can dig them up thoroughly with a shovel and then move them to another location in the garden. The following season, you will have beautiful, tall stems full of yellow flowers up to 2 meters high. Mullein can also be an indicator of loose and quality soil in your garden. Here are the clary sages. The plant is biennial. Any plant that sprouted in the same season will bloom the next year. Clary sages tolerate cold and have no problem being at very low temperatures if they are short-lived. The only problem is that snails love it. They already gnaw a lot before it enters bloom. Here are the young clary sages with velvety leaves, and they only came from seeds a few weeks ago. These inflorescences will bloom next year in the middle of summer. They have a very specific smell, pleasant. During this period, your garden takes on a spectrum of smells that mix with other growing and flowering plants. But clary sage is the most intense with its smell. This is black mallow here, and you can still find some flowers at the beginning of winter. Mallow does not need to be transplanted because it is invasive enough on its own. I also have an old St. John's wort that still contains seeds in its calyxes, and I have already collected a lot of those seeds for safekeeping. St. John's wort seeds retain their germination for years, which means that even 10-year-old seeds have very good germination. And the seeds are so resistant that they can survive a fire, some sources say. It supposedly originates somewhere in Siberia, but this has not been fully proven. Then the yarrow plant. The best solution to transplant it is by the end of autumn because it enters the vegetation in early spring, and this buys it time for a safe wetting. That's the best way to do it. So with yarrow, cut the roots into several parts without fear and transplant the roots to a new location. Fertilize it well from below with manure, and it will thrive. Look at this. Now the 2-year-old bush is huge. It has a square meter of plant. How big it is? But I'll leave it like this for now, because a little further here I already have a lot of yarrow that I don't know what to do with when it starts to bloom. This on the side is marigolds, Calendula officinalis. In this state that you see, the plant will survive the winter with minor frosts, while at the end of January, the marigold leaves that have rotted should be slightly trimmed, and it will rise without any problems and bloom in early April. It is not a biennial plant, but in this case it blooms among the first plants, dandelions or snowdrops. So it is a very resistant plant without a doubt. The plant can withstand short-term frost. As for these marigolds, They are not resistant to frost. They are also bothered by very low temperatures. They need a minimum of plus 10 Celsius degrees for normal behavior. So the old plant dies at minus 2 degrees, completely rotting with leaves. Thai coriander, I planted it for the first time in the fall. It started very well, so we will see how it will recover in early spring and start growing. That's all from me for today. Thanks for watching.